Fat content and deemed it a superfood. We're swapping full-fat lattes for sugar-free soy flat whites and using gadgets to swell courgettes into a gluten-free version of pasta. But can the food we eat really clean our bodies and make us feel well? Tonight on BBC Two, Cambridge University scientist Dr. Giles Yeo investigates clean eating. In a moment, we'll talk to Dr. Yeo and also to the founder of a healthy food festival and a woman who says she was so obsessed by clean eating that she became dangerously ill. OK, let's talk more about it with Dr. Giles Yeo from the University of Cambridge, who went on the journey investigating clean eating. Rose Lloyd-Owen runs a healthy eating food and yoga festival featuring Deliciously Ella and many of the top clean eating bloggers. And also with us, Carrie Armstrong, who says she was so obsessed by clean eating that she became dangerously ill and believed certain food was unclean. Well, Carrie, tell us more then about what happened with you.
I wasn't very well. I'd never thought anything about diet until I became physically unwell. And you know, if you look on a search engine, how do I get better? I was extremely poorly. Diet comes into it, and as soon as I started researching, I thought, my goodness, no wonder I've been poisoning myself. And I took it to Olympic standards of crazy. I went from eating anything to within 18 months weighing 6 stone, and I mean, I'm a big girl, and only eating watermelon. So I took it to as extreme as you can get it. My hair was falling out, my teeth were crumbling. I never left the house, and I was completely obsessed and fixated with the idea of cleaning myself so I could get well again.
Giles, this is a concept that you have obviously looked at for your programme. I mean, that's an extreme example, but having looked closely at it, what's your assessment on whether food can make you ill, can make you well?
I think it depends. As with everything, it actually depends. So, for example, if we start with what I agree with in terms of when I actually looked at the film, undoubtedly, we have a broken food environment that we need to fix. Okay, I think a lot of the diseases we have are diet related. And we got to fix that. Obesity, of course, but then any number of type 2 diabetes, we got to fix the food environment we're in, which is why I went on this journey to begin with. The problem is, if, however, you take what I think uncontroversially is a healthy diet, so eat more vegetables, eat less meat, but then you wrap it around some pseudoscience to say it can suddenly cure you, it can cure you of cancer, it can cure you of any number of other ailments, then I have a problem with it.
And the phrase that is being used now is orthorexia. It is that obsession with clean eating. How many people do you think are sort of actually being susceptible to it becoming a disorder?
Orthorexia, I think, is almost like a variant of anorexia, okay, where you have a almost like a control psychosis in order to try and keep control of your life. Here's the problem. I think the clean phenomenon is tied up in social media. In fact, they probably go hand in hand. And a lot of the gurus, the food gurus that are out there, reach millions of followers. And what happens is, while the vast majority of those millions of followers will treat it as it is, as, oh, that looks like a pretty plate of food, I'm going to have that pretty plate of food, you're going to get these percentage of human beings. I'll cite one example. Okay, completely randomly, what I did was I joined Instagram for the show, and I did this and that, and I posted a picture of my breakfast one morning, which was a sausage, an egg, and a muffin, okay, like in a cup of tea. I lost 10% of my followers in 24 hours because of the type of people who were following
Just couldn't
me.
even bear to look at the picture.
They couldn't bear to look at a sausage. And I guess, but here's the thing. I was funny, I documented it on the show, but imagine you are susceptible.
Yes.
Imagining that this is my life. I have worked hard for this plate of food, but for some reason, a percentage of people don't like it, and they suddenly abandon you. That is where the problem begins. That is where
makes people feel bad about eating that sort of thing. Let's bring in Rose. Rose, I said you're a founder of a healthy eating festival. I mean, can you believe people can't bear to even look at a picture of a sausage?
I know that does seem a little crazy. Yes, also Fair Healthy is a food and well-being and exercise and festival in a couple of weeks, and our ethos there very much is to bring it all sorts of different eatings and to diets, all sorts of different ways of eating, and to celebrate, everybody's.
But does it celebrate eating a sausage? eating a packet of biscuits if you occasionally feel like it. It's not, it's obviously not something you should do all the time. But but does it
I don't
sort of
think
put the
anyone
message out the window about moderation? It's more about extremes.
Well, I don't think anyone is saying it should be extreme, and I don't think anyone is saying it should be all or nothing. And I think that is where the problem is. I think that none of these guys are saying you must do this, you should do this 100% of the time. They very much advocate a 70-30 or spaghetti's not going to kill you, but how about making it out of celeriac instead, or courgettes, because essentially, you're getting more vegetables into your diet and that's better for you. I don't.
But there will be people that then interpret that as, oh, therefore there is this lovely healthy option which looks beautiful in the Instagram pictures. Eating the pasta is bad.
Yes, and like anything, with anything that becomes very, big, there will be people who do take it too literally and take the wrong message. And I don't think anyone's giving that message out. They're just simply trying to find more interesting and delicious ways of cooking vegetables.
Carrie, when you talked obviously about the fact that it initially started with you as sort of wanting to make yourself feel better, and it sort of went down a very extreme path. When you were, tell us about the sort of images that you were seeing, the messages that you were taking on board from the environment around you.
To be honest, Pet, we could go on all day about how it's social media's fault, or social networking's fault, or my neighbour next to me that's thinner than me, or someone who's got cancer, all these things that create fear within me. That's not me taking responsibility. I forgot, plain and simple, it's not what goes into my mouth that makes me a worthwhile person, it's what comes out of it. I elevated food to a place it did not belong. It's not my salvation. I was, like so many people, spiritually bankrupt, and I was looking for mindfulness within my plate. And it's not, you don't get spiritual well-being from what you eat, it's how you live, it's how you contribute. And I'd warped that, I'd taken that way out of perspective, and therefore to make myself well, I had to leave food alone and just have it be an experience I could share with people, because food doesn't love you back, but people can. And that's how I got well, and it has nothing to do with healthy eating at all.
Giles, it's a good phrase, isn't it? Food being elevated to a place it does not belong. Is that how much do you think that is happening? Is it happening?
I mean, food keeps us alive. So I think it ought to be elevated to something, and we put it in us and it makes us who we are. So in that way, I definitely agree that we should respect the food that we eat. But respecting the food that we eat, or pasting something on there that it doesn't actually do or can actually do, is where I think issues begin to happen. Can I take one thing of what you said, saying that that I can't blame other people for it, and I probably agree that you can't blame other people for it. The problem is you are living still within a particular environment that's foisted upon you.
No,
I mean,
but that's not to me taking responsibility. I don't have to react to that. In fact, to keep myself, safe from something like orthorexia, when you know who you are, social media cannot dictate to you. When you know who you are, you're not going to get sick like this.
Yeah. I agree. I think eating disorders sadly have existed for a long time.
And they're thinking disorders first and foremost.
Exactly, and it's unfortunately it's in your mind, not what you're seeing. Yes, it may influence your mind, but the problem is within you, way before you go on social media.
Can I just interrupt? So when you say it's all in the mind, you paste eating disorders into some form of weird mental condition.
No, I didn't mean that.
But just to be clear, I think we're still trying to understand it. There is a psychosis, there is a susceptibility, there's going to be a genetic susceptibility, there's going to be a hormonal susceptibility.
But that makes me, as a person who had that, feel hopeless, and I'm not. I'm strong. I've done it.
I think the critical thing to this, I study obesity. Okay, this is what I study obesity, and I know that there are people that are susceptible to obesity. Equally, there are going to be people that are susceptible to orthorexia, to anorexia, to eating disorders, to responding in a way that you're not supposed to. Accepting that there is a biological genetic explanation, in part, is not giving up, is not fatalism.
I'm not saying it's giving up, but why am I well now then?
Now, look.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'll shut
carry
up.
this on outside the studio. I'm so sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Please carry on.
Yeah, it's a longer discussion, but your programme is on tonight,
yes,
isn't it?
It is.
BBC
2, 9 p.m.
All right. Thank you all very much.